This is the Advanced Selling Podcast. The aim of this podcast is to help business sales teams grow their business with modern strategies and philosophies. Now, your hosts, Bill Caskey and Bryan Neal.
Hey, thank you. Look at that. Thank you.
Outstanding. We're live.
We are live at the Jazz Kitchen again. We did this back in February, and here we are again doing it. So welcome to our live studio audience today. Really glad you came out today.
Last time we came was February. We had a horrendous winter here in the Midwest.
It was terrible.
And it's been raining here for about 44 days, right? Longer than it rained for Noah. Right? And the first day we have, it's like 68, not a cloud in the sky. We bring everyone into a jazz club where there's no windows and everything is pitch black dark. So aren't you glad you're here?
That's good.
Welcome. Great to have people we know out in the audience.
So this is going to be an extended version of the Advanced Selling Podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to probably do 15, 20 minutes, and we've got a topic here we want to kind of lay out for you. But I've got a quick story. You know, we have been experiencing a lot of storms here in the Midwest, and of course some of them are very serious down in the southern part, southeast part of the country.
Yeah.
But even up here in Indiana, in Kentucky, we've had a lot of tornadoes, a lot of wind, a lot of tornado watches. And of course, the weather people love this. They don't like the destruction. I'm not saying they like that, but they love, because what does a weather guy want to do, right? He wants to get more minutes than just his little allotted 3 minutes during his half-hour newscast.
Yeah.
And these guys spend millions of dollars on Doppler radar and all this stuff, right? But when the weather changes, they love it. So the other night there was a tornado watch, and it was late at night, and the sirens. You guys all familiar with the sirens? Did you hear them? I don't know, it was last weekend maybe? Earlier this week, and of course they've got the radar now to where you can see it literally street by street. They can pan in, and you know exactly where that storm is. And of course the weather guy's like 3 minutes and 30 seconds it's going to hit Carmel. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And so my wife Jane, who's not with us today, or I wouldn't be telling this story, gets very nervous. And so we're down in the, prepared. We're down with the candles and the flashlights, and we're in the basement, and we're watching TV. I don't know how the TV is going to stand if we have this big storm, but so we're down there, and all of a sudden the sirens, and he's like 30 seconds, and I'm like, okay, great, here it comes, and we're kind of making, having some fun. And our daughter Kelly, who's here, lives down here, so she couldn't make it up. So we're down in the basement huddled up. All of a sudden, Jane says, "Water, water! We need bottles of water!" And I talked to 3 people the next day. And they said their wives did that to them too. What is it with wives and bottled water?
I have no idea. I'm not a wife. That's very, very
Did Jen
funny.
do that to you?
No.
And I don't know how long we were anticipating being in the basement with bottled water, but
we have 4 kids between the ages of 8 and 4, and those sirens go off, and we just lay there and hope none of the kids come in our bedroom. Like you got to kind of get up, and the wind's howling and shaking around. You just get up and just count them off, just to make sure you didn't lose one through the wind or something.
All right.
Now, we're pretty laid back with storms.
You are.
We are.
Okay.
Topic today.
Well, before we do the topic, got a couple of LinkedIn. David Turner is a big LinkedIn subscriber and good podcast listener. Leon Pajoli comes from a technical background. He loves the podcast, helps me sell despite not being a natural sales personality.
That's nice.
Michael Yaley, I think is his name. He communicates with us a lot. John Turner is a good listener. Paul Cook.
How do you know they're good listeners?
Because they tell me. They tell me they're good listeners.
That's good. I like
that. And one other, but
bad listeners.
I guess I don't have that with me. He's one of the best
applauded ever.
You especially. I just don't happen to have that one.
I'm sure he did.
Anyway,
he knows I got my cute shirt on today.
He does.
All right. Fun if you're here.
Topic.
Yeah, topic. You go. Kick it off. Since I was confused earlier.
We got an email here a couple weeks ago from a listener who is listening for a while. Yes, he's a good listener. And he says, you guys give a lot of good information away, but you've never really gone from beginning to end. What are all the things I need to do, have, and be to be successful in selling? Mm-hmm. And as I went back and looked at some of the topics, we try to make the topics fairly small because the tolerance for our voice is probably about 7 to 10 minutes, and then you get tired of it. So this is going to be a little bit longer one, though, because what we did was we looked at the 10 components that we think today, in today's world, today's economy, today's modern social media world, you really need to be thinking about selling differently. So we came up with what we're calling a roadmap to revenue for 2011. You've got it in front of you. We're not going to have a chance to go through each one of these as in-depth as we'd like, but we picked out 3 that we think are really important. And so we can even talk and do some Q&A because we've got a little 10 minutes of Q&A after this, so we can go back to some of the other ones. But we want to talk about these one at a time. You've got it on your handout here. For you Advanced Selling Podcast app listeners, it will be on the app site too, so you'll be able to download it.
And people can, the rest of the people listening who aren't here in the audience can actually email us and get us at listener@advancedsellingpodcast.com if they want a hard copy of this, if they want to see a list. So you want to start?
Yeah.
Please do.
All right.
Be my guest.
So number one, have a goal. You know, I was talking with a client the other day, and we were talking about her goals for this year and what she wanted to accomplish and what skills she wanted to work on. And I said, and she was a high commission salesperson, meaning 90% of her job was commission focused, so she didn't get much of a salary. And I said, what's your goal? What's your one number? Is there one number at the end of the year? And she said, not really. I'd like to get more clients. I'd like to have more fun. I'd like to spend more time with my family. I'd like to sell more to my current client base, which was her responsibility. She had no one number. And so after a little bit of counseling, we came up with the one number. And in her case, it was an income number. And she said, if I could make this, we tracked it all back to sales then, she had a lot better sense of what she really needed to accomplish.
Yeah,
so
good.
it's a very short explanation there.
Good.
But if you have a goal, I know you're a goal-oriented group, but make sure you at least have one number that you can look at and say, this is what I need to do in 2011.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah.
We're going to go through all these, right?
You go ahead.
Just real quick. We're going to touch on it's kind of the top 6 that you see, 1, 2, 3, and 6, 7, 8 for you in the audience here. And then we're going to go deep into these other 3. So knowing your market, what that means, and just think about this. If you don't already do this, how many of you subscribe to an industry newsletter or blog? An industry newsletter? Oh, that's very good. I'm impressed. Good. How many of you read it? That's the big question, yeah. Oh, I subscribe. Oh, yeah, I'm one of those guys. I subscribe to like 19 million things, and I delete them all. That's bad. But pick 1 or 2. I read Seth Godin's blog every single day. I know exactly when it comes. In fact, this morning I thought my email was screwed up because it was like 2 minutes late. I thought, what's wrong with Seth today? It's 6:02. He gets here at 6.
He's watching the wedding.
Just be a student of your market. You'll find a good way to get access to people is to become a student, to go ask people. If you can interview them or talk to them or learn from them, that's a way to get access to people. Be a student of your market.
Yeah. Did you see Seth's videos that he put out?
No, I didn't.
Really good group of videos. I don't know if any of you have seen those. Did you see them, Greg? Go to Seth Godin. I don't know if it's typepad.com or typepad.sethgodin, but go look him up. Go Google him. He came out with a series of 4 videos that are about the world as it is today versus the world as it was. Did you see it? The world as it was 50 years ago. It is eye-opening. And it really...
is that the one where you said we're getting away? We've got to let go of all the old economies are all gone? And,
yes.
I did see. Yeah,
it was so eye-opening. It can kind of scare you a little bit if you don't have a cocktail in front of you. So, so go do that. It's probably 30 minutes of video. So do it sometime this weekend. It's really eye-opening.
That's good.
That was good. That's excellent.
You want to go next? Need to put your glasses on?
Sure. Number 3, have a story. Make it your own. You know, when we counsel companies, it seems like the story is a big issue. Mm-hmm. And I know when Bryan goes out and talks to clients and we first start working with someone, we will always say, okay, well, tell me your story. Tell me your company story. And we'll usually get things like, well, we've been in business for 60 years and we have 3,000 clients and we're a leader in the Midwest in our publishing business and we're this and we're that and we're this and that. And the problem with that is not a story. That's a resume. And one of the things that we try to do up front, I wish we had more time, we just don't have time to do this today, but think about the evolution of your business. Think about when your business started, you've probably made decisions in that business over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Even if you've only been in business for 2 years, you've made conscious decisions about the way you are today. And try to create and wrap that into a story. You know, when we started, here was the market. We've noticed some changes over the past 20 years. Here is something we did in 1994 that really affected us. 2005, we made a decision not to go to that and do this. And so now today, one of the things we do is we help companies solve problems like A, B, and C. So in 30 seconds, you can give the prospect a really good sense of your background and your story. So when I say have a story, make it personal, you can have your own story within that too.
Yeah,
and I know very good. You play around with that a lot with your clients.
I love that. Yeah, and I use a quote, so some of you that are clients of mine have heard this, and I've said it on the podcast maybe a time or two. It's from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you remember when John Candy was a big guy, and he's talking to Steve Martin, and he's driving him crazy, and Steve Martin goes off on him. He's tired of listening to him talk because he talks incessantly. And Steve Martin says, oh, here's another thing. When you tell a story, have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener. You get that? All right? So is your story interesting? Reading off your resume isn't interesting to me. Telling me how and why you were drawn to your business and how you succeeded and failed and what you learned, that's interesting to me. All right? And the world is moving to storytelling. Stories have a beginning, middle, and an end. They have a little drama. They might have a hero. But be able to articulate your story in your sales life and in anything. If some of you are going to have another job someday at a different company, you need to be able to tell your story in an interview process also. So many people come into an interview with their resume and, well, I manage a territory. Don't tell me that. Connect with me. Tell me a story. Do you remember when Terry was telling his story? Wasn't it? It was interesting, wasn't it? You were waiting for it, and there was a drama to it. It was really, really good. Really good. So tell stories. Be a storyteller.
So work on that. That's a good assignment. Very good. Work on that. All right.
This has been the Advanced Selling Podcast presented by Caskey Achievement Strategies, Indianapolis. Join us each time we record a new podcast by going to BillCaskey.com or to iTunes.